House Republicans are demanding that the White House agree to their spending cuts before they agree to raise the debt ceiling. But the White House position, I think, has been very clear. Raising the debt ceiling is non-negotiable for them. Here's White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre.
It is something that should be done without conditions. We should not be negotiating around it. It is the duty, the basic duty of Congress to get that done. And so we're just not going to negotiate about that.
Well, my political panel is here to discuss. Tyler Pager is a White House reporter for The Washington Post. Political commentator Reecie Colbert is here. She is the host of the upcoming Reecie Colbert Show on SiriusXM. And Shermichael Singleton is a former Republican and also a host of a show on SiriusXM, The Shermichael Singleton Show. Thank you very much, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Tyler, I'm going to start with you because I've been reading a lot of your bylines as of late. What are some of the scenarios for how this debt ceiling fight might actually end?
Look, I don't think either the Democrats or Republicans really want to default on the debt. We're seeing some of that classic political positioning where each side is trying to get concessions from the other, and neither side wants to negotiate over this right now. But as we hurtle closer toward this deadline, I think we will see more conversations between the White House and House Republicans to figure out how to resolve this. We've already seen Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warn about the consequences for not dealing with this issue. And I think we'll continue to see her take a more public profile in this role, trying to depoliticize the process, focusing on the economic repercussions of hurtling down toward this deadline. But look, this is a new dynamic in Washington. Republicans have control of the House, and the White House has to reckon with the fact that they're going to need to work with Republicans to get this done. There's few other avenues available at this point.
Oh, I mean, true. We're fiddling with the full faith and credit of the United States of America. The dollar, honey, it is not a game. When I think about the debt ceiling, I think about this legislation that we're seeing from the House specifically. The Fair Tax Act that I talked about at the beginning of the show, these anti-abortion measures. This is like the same extremism that lost Republicans the midterms. And I don't think any of it will pass the Senate. But Reecie, is this agenda maybe a gift to Democrats, even if it's hurtful for the American people?
Absolutely. I mean, it couldn't be a bigger gift for 2024 to show what the Republicans actually want to do. For the past 2 years, they've had the benefit of just being a no vote on everything that passed and people benefited from. But now the American people are going to get to see just how extreme these Republicans are, not just at the state level, but at the federal level, and how much it's going to hit them in the pocketbooks. Republicans have an unearned reputation of being good on jobs, being good on the economy, and most importantly, being good on taxes. And these tax increases are going to be very jarring, even if they don't pass to the American people, to see what could happen if they take full control.
I mean, the 23% federal tax from the Tax Act, I thought that was insane. Like, the eggs are already $9 at my Safeway. I don't know about you all. Something that I think everybody here could agree on is that the border, it needs attention, is an issue. Is something Republicans have been talking about, is something Democrats have maybe not been talking as much about, but something that they are definitely trying to address. And this month, the House Oversight Committee is now going to hold a hearing on what is happening at the border. And I want to put this up on the screen for folks because actually not this month, it's in February. And it is worth noting that at least 5 of the Republican members have parroted the blatantly racist Great Replacement conspiracy theory. More than a dozen members voted to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Shermichael, I just think, especially the people we just put up on the screen, these are some very unserious players. Do you think that people are going to take this particular hearing seriously?
No. I mean, I guess the people who support them would take it serious, but the average American person likely not. I think that the risk here for Republicans, Simone, is, as Reecie pointed out, they may lose independent swing voters, some of whom crossed over and gave them this very, very slim majority come 2024. And despite the embarrassment that may come from these hearings, whether it's into Hunter Biden or about the border, Joe Biden, for the most part, I would say strategically speaking, does have somewhat of an advantage. Unemployment numbers for every demo group significantly low. I think if you look at the overall state of the economy, minus a few things here and there, we're doing pretty well. And I got to give the president credit, even if I disagree with some other issues. And so I think if you're looking at this from a Democratic and a Republican perspective, I think ours have far more to lose. And now the question becomes, can Kevin McCarthy actually reel some of these people in, Simone? And I think we know the answer to that is simply no, because McCarthy doesn't have much influence as it is.
I think that we literally saw how he did not have real control over the caucus. It is something to watch, and I'm particularly interested in the White House's preparations for this particular border hearing. But before I let y'all go from this particular moment, we got to talk about Congressman George Santos. Okay, this is a lot. He's got some very serious allegations for lying about a number of aspects of his past during the 2020 campaign, basically almost all of it. Separately, though, this week, he's denied two things. There's a veterans claim that the congressman pocketed money from a GoFundMe page intended to pay for treatment of the veteran's dying service dog, and the dog died. And then you've got images and footage that have surfaced from 2007 that two sources tell NBC News appears to be Santos in drag while living in Brazil. The Brazilian journalist who interviewed the person in black in this video says that he is very confident the individual was, in fact, Santos. Now, I want to be very clear. There is nothing wrong with participating in the art form of drag. But when you're a member of a party that's introduced more than 100 anti-LGBTQ bills in the first month of 2023 alone, when you have cozied up to lawmakers who have vilified the LGBTQ plus community, and when they ask you, is it you? And you say, I never did it. And they get the picture and they're like, is this you? I just feel like there's something going on here. Tyler, what is going on? What is going on? What is happening?
A lot of questions, and it seems every day there is a new story about a new revelation and a new inconsistency in Congressman Santos' background. Obviously, all of this started to come out after he was already elected to Congress, and there's been many calls from both Democrats and Republicans for him to resign. He has shown no interest or even thought about doing so. And look, I think one of the things here to look at this from the macro political lens is that Speaker Kevin McCarthy can't really afford to lose any more Republican support in his own conference. George Santos was one of the people that was a staunch McCarthy backer, helped him with the rest of the conference get the speakership bid. And with this ability for any Republican to call for a motion to vacate, which could end Kevin McCarthy's speakership, it is in his political interest to ensure that Santos is a reliable vote for him in the conference. Now, he's a congressman from New York. If he were to resign, it is likely that a Democrat would replace him. And that is not something that Kevin McCarthy wants to have to deal with. So at this point, it seems that there's no incentive for George Santos to resign. And each day there's going to be another revelation about something in his background that seemingly is inconsistent with what he has said publicly.
The slim majority point, I think, is the thing that everyone should listen to and take from what you said there. I also think that this focus on, you know, the possible drag career, the dog, it's insane, but I really think it distracts from very serious questions about George Santos' finances. He is under investigation by federal prosecutors over financial disclosures and loans that he made to his campaign when he was running for Congress. Reese, you're going to have the last word on this. Like, is that getting lost in the other lies? And I should also note that NBC News has reached out to George Santos for comment, and we have yet to hear back.
Well, you know, Simone, today, George Santos, to quote a Real Housewife, has been like, who gonna check me, boo, when it comes to all of these lies. But these investigations into his finances are very serious. We know that he is basically a low-budget bootleg Donald Trump. And instead of scamming and bankrupting casinos, he's on a lower end of the scale, but it's still very serious. And if anything is gonna boot him out of this very short-lived political career that he's going to have, it's going to be these investigations.
It'll be the investigations. As Tyler pointed out, there's no incentive for Republicans to tamper with their majority.